Good morning or good afternoon. It's Miss Bauer here, and today we're going to talk about modeling with quadratic functions, or how to write a quadratic equation when given information. Now, remember that there's three forms of quadratics. There's standard form, vertex form, and intercept form. Standard form is what you use when you're just kind of given points and you don't necessarily know much. So that's y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Vertex form is when you're given the vertex and you know that it's the vertex. So y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And then intercept form is if you are given the intercept. So y equals a times x minus p times x minus q. Remember that you want to have all of those forms memorized. So you want to make sure that you've got that down. So this first one says that you have a parabola containing these 3 points. What's the equation of this parabola? I don't know if these are vertex, if any of them are the vertex or the intercept, but I do know that I have 3 points. Okay, 3 unknowns. I don't know what A is. I don't know the vertex. I don't know. I got a lot of unknowns, okay? 3 unknowns. So this is going to create a 3 by 3 system. So we're going back to 3 by 3s, okay? Now, I'm going to use standard form, and my 3 unknowns are going to be A, B, and C. So I'm going to start with that. So I know that y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, and I have 3 points. So I can take each of these 3 points, plug them in, okay, each time, and then I'm going to have 3 equations, and then I'm going to try to find A, B, and C, okay? So let's start with 0, 0. So if I have 0, 0, remember that it goes x, y. So that'd be 0 equals a times 0 squared plus b times x is 0 plus c, okay? The next one, same thing, x, y. So y would be negative 2. Y equals negative 2 equals a times x is now negative 1 squared plus b times negative 1 plus c. And then for my last one, be careful with x, y. What ends up happening is you sometimes will do like 1 equals, but it's y equals. So 6 equals a times 1 squared plus b times 1 plus c, okay? And now I'm going to kind of clean this up. So distribute, do whatever you need to do. So right here, a times 0 squared would be 0, plus b times 0 would be 0. So I'm left with c equals 0. Okay, so that's kind of nice. I already know that. Right here, a times negative 1 squared. Remember that negative 1 squared is just 1, positive. So that'd be a. B times negative 1 would be a minus b plus c equals negative 2. And then for that last one, 1 squared would just be 1a, or a plus, so I have a positive b, plus c equals 6. Now, if I add these as is, b's going to eliminate, and I already know that c is 0. So I'm going to go ahead and add these together. Okay, I'm solving a 3 by 3, right? So turn it into a 2 by 2, but I already know that c is 0. And if I add b is going to eliminate out, that's going to eliminate. So I'm going to be left with 2a equals 6 minus 2 is 4. So a would equal 2. And then I have 2 of my letters already. So I know c equals 0. I know a equals 2. I just have to find b. So I'm going to go back to this one right here. A plus b plus c equals 6. A is 2 plus I don't know b plus c is 0 equals 6. That's just b plus 2 equals 6. Subtract 2, so b would equal 4. So what would be the equation of the parabola that passes through those points? That would just be y equals ax squared, but I found out that a was 2, so 2x squared, plus bx, so plus 4x, plus c is 0, so plus 0, so just leave it like that. Now, it didn't say what is the equation in vertex form, what is the equation in intercept form. If it did, then I would have to do some more work, but it just said, what's the equation? And I found the equation, so I can be done. Okay, the next one talks about the parabolic path of a thrown ball can be modeled by the points. negative 1, 0, 1, negative 2, 2, negative 15. Write the equation for this path of the ball that's in the parabola, okay? I'm going to do exactly what I did before. I have 3 points. I'm going to plug them in, and then I'm going to make a 3 by 3 system. So it goes back to that standard form, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So for that first one, I'm going to have 0 equals a times x was negative 1 squared plus b times x is negative 1 plus c. I'll worry about fixing it later, okay? For the next one, remember it's xy. So y is negative 2 equals a times 1 squared plus b times 1 plus c. And then for that last one, xy, y is negative 15. So this is negative 15 equals a times 2 squared plus b times 2 plus c, okay? Remember that anything squared should be positive. So negative 1 squared is just going to be 1. So that's just a. Minus b, because the negative 1, plus c equals 0. This would become a plus b plus c equals negative 2. So I'm already kind of thinking ahead to this 3 by 3, and I'm catching. Like, that's going to eliminate. I'm going to be left with 2a plus 2c. Okay, but we'll deal with that in a second. And then right here, 2 squared would be 4a plus 2 times b, so plus c equals negative 15. Now, we already said that a and b can combine and eliminate, right? So a and b, if I add a and b together, that would give you 2a plus 2c equals negative 2. Okay, so I did a and b. Now I'm going to do a and c. I'm going to do a and c. I'm still eliminating b, but I'm going to do a and c because I have a positive and a negative. I'm still eliminating b. So all I have to do is multiply a by 2. So that would be 2a minus 2b plus 2c. Then 0 times 2 is just 0. And now when I add these ones together, b is going to eliminate. 2a and 4a makes 6a. 2c and c makes 3c equals negative 15. Okay, so a and c became 6a. B's canceled. Plus 3c equals negative 15. Okay? And then I'm going to solve this one by elimination again. And I'm going to add the top one. I'm going to multiply the top one by negative 3, and then I'll have 6 a's. That's just less multiplying instead of trying to eliminate c. Okay? So I'm going to multiply this top one by negative 3, and that's going to give me negative 6a minus 6c. And negative 2 times negative 3 would be 6. So now I have this and this that I'm adding together. So my a's are going to cancel. Negative 6c plus 3c would be negative 3c equals, that's 6 plus negative 15, that would be negative 9. So that would make c equal 3. So now I need to figure out what a and b are, okay? So I'm going to go back. Remember that we did 3 by 3. We solved by elimination. We eliminated b. So I did a and b, a and c, right, to eliminate b. Okay. Now add the 2 by 2. I'm going to finish the 2 by 2. So I'm going to go back up to this one. And instead of c, I'm going to plug in 3. So I'm going to do 2 times a plus 2 times c is 3 equals negative 2. Okay. So that's 2a plus 6 equals negative 2. So 2a would equal, if I subtract the 6, that's going to give you negative 8. And then when you divide both sides by 2, a is going to equal negative 4. So now I have a, now I have c, and now I'm going to go find out what b is. So back over here, I'm just going to plug into this one, a plus b plus c. So that would be negative 4 plus, I don't know what b is, plus I found out that c was 3 equals negative 2 because I plugged into this middle one right here. Okay, so that would be b minus 1 equals negative 2, and then subtract the 1, and then I get b equals, I messed up real quick. My bad, y'all. Okay, a is negative 4, c is 3, so I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to plug it in. I think I miswrote it. So that's going to be negative 4 plus, I don't know what b is, plus I know that C is 3 equals, I plugged it into the middle one, which was -2. So then I get -1 plus B equals -2, and then add the 1. So then B is going to equal -1. So now that you know A, B, and C, you can write your equation. So y equals ax squared would be -4x squared plus x. So if you have like plus b is -1x, just say -1x, or just say -x plus 3. That's it. Now, you can go to Desmos and check these pretty quickly by typing this in, looking at your graph, and then just asking yourself, are these 3 points on that parabola? And if they are, then you did it right. And then if they're not, then that means that something was off somewhere along the way because that's not working, right? You could also graph that by hand and kind of go back to what we did the previous days. But you could also, just for checking purposes, you could type this into Desmos and check this pretty fast, okay? Now, this next one says, find the equation of quadratic in all 3 forms. Okay, I have the intercepts, and then I have a point. So I have 3 points. So I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing, which is where I just plug everything in, okay, to find A, B, and C. So I have 0 equals A times -6 squared. And somebody's driving by with their motorcycle and revving their engine, which drives me crazy, okay? Plus B times -6 plus C. And then I'm going to keep plugging in, right? So the next point was 0 equals A times 4 squared plus B times 4 plus C. Okay, not forgetting, like, this is x, y, x, y. And then when I rearrange it, I just move the y to the back end. But just be really careful plugging these in, okay? And then for the last one, that would be 21/4 equals A times 1 squared plus B times 1 plus C. So when I rearrange it, I just kind of write this part first and I say equals 0 at the end. So A times -6 squared would be positive 36A minus 6B plus C equals 0. That next one would give you 16A, because 4 squared is 16, plus 4B plus C equals 0. And then for this last one, you would get A plus B plus C equals 21/4. Now, what I want to do is I want to get rid of that fraction. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to multiply it by -4. Because if I multiply it by a -4, this is 4b, then the b's are going to cancel out and I'm going to be done with my fraction. So I'm going to multiply all of this by -4. So I have -4a minus 4b minus 4c equals 21 times -4 would be -21. And now I'm going to add these two together. This one and this one is what I'm adding together, okay? Because my b's are going to eliminate. 16 minus 4 would be 12, and then c minus 4c would be -3, and then 21 and 0 is just going to be 21. So that would be 12a minus 3c equals -21. Now, I need to eliminate b again, and I already did b and c, so now I could do a and c, and then I can multiply this by -6, but I'm just going to stick with these top two up here, and I'm just going to multiply them by each other. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to multiply this by 4, and I'm going to multiply this by -6, okay? So we're using a lot of those solving 3x3 system skills. Notice that a lot of stuff in Algebra 2 just kind of keeps popping back up. It doesn't necessarily go away. Okay, so for right here, this one, I'm multiplying by 4. This one I'm multiplying by 6, not -6. Okay, I'm going to distribute it and then line them up so the b's should cancel out. Okay, so to do that, 36 times 4 is going to be 144a. Okay, 6 times 4 would be -24b plus 4c equals 0. And then this one right here, 16 times 6 is 96. And I know you can go off to the side and do like 16 times 6 if you need to, right? Okay, plus 24b plus 6c equals 0. And now I'm going to add those two together So I'm going to add this one and this one together. My B's are going to eliminate, okay? And then I'm going to line it up down here, and then I'm going to have my 2 by 2, okay? So 144 plus 96, 4 and 6 carry over. That's going to be 240A. 4 and 6 makes 10, and then 0 and 0 is 0. So that's 240A plus 10C equals 0, okay? And then from here, I am just thinking like 12 goes into 240, so I'm going to eliminate A, okay? I took my 3 by 3, I got it to the 2 by 2, and now I'm going to solve this 2 by 2. So I'm going to multiply this by negative 20, and that would be negative 240A plus 60C equals 20 times 21 would just be 42, and then add a 0, so that'd be positive 420, okay? A's cancel, I'm left with 70C equals 420. Well, 420 divided by 70 is just 42 divided by 7, so C is 6. And now I'm going to find B. So I'm going to go, let's just use, doesn't really matter which one, but let's just use the top one because there were smaller numbers, okay? So now I'm going to come over here. So I'm going to do 12 times A minus 3 times C is 6 equals negative 21. 3 times 6 is 18. So that's minus 18. So then add 18 to both sides. So 12A equals negative 3. Divide both sides by 12. Negative 3 divided by 12 reduces. So A would equal, or it simplifies to negative 1/4. So now I have A and now I have C, okay? After that, all that's left to find is B. So I'm going to come back over to this one. I know there's a fraction in it. That's okay. We're going to practice our skills. So I had A plus B plus C. So I have negative 1/4 plus, I don't know what B is, plus C is 6 equals 21/4. And the reason I picked this one is because I had a 1/4 and I have a fraction. It's just this that I have to worry about getting a common denominator with. So 6 times 4 would be 24. So that's 24/4. So negative 1/4 plus 24/4. So B plus 23/4, because 24 minus 1 is 23, equals 21/4. When you subtract 23/4 from the other side, 21 minus 23 is negative 2. Negative 2 over 4 is just negative 1/2. So B equals negative 1/2. And there's your B. Okay. So in standard form, this is going to be y equals negative 1/4 x squared minus 1/2 x plus 6 in their standard form. Now, this said to find it in all 3 forms. So let's go back. I did standard form. Well, I had the intercepts, and I actually know what A is now from standard form. So I know that if this piece is A right here, and I know that these are your intercepts, so there's your A, there's your P, and there's your Q. So in intercept form, this would just be y equals negative 1/4. X minus P would become X plus 6, and then X minus Q would just be X minus 4, and there it is in intercept form. So that didn't take too long because I already knew what A was from standard form, okay? And then from there, the only one that's left is vertex form. Well, I have it in standard form, so use standard form to find your vertex and go from there. So think back to when you had vertex form, or whenever you had standard form to vertex form, you could just find the vertex. You could complete the square, but like, do you really want to complete the square with that? So I would do x equals negative b over 2a. So negative b would be negative 1/2, which is just negative 1/2. So that's 1/2 over 2 times a is negative 1/4. Well, that's 1/2 over 2 times negative 1/4. If you have 2 quarters, that's just negative 1/2. 1/2 divided by a negative 1/2 is just negative 1. So there's your h value of your vertex. I already know that a is going to be the same, negative 1/4. Okay, now I'm going to plug negative 1 into standard form and then use that to find the k value, and then I'm at vertex form, okay? I already knew a from standard form. I use this formula to find out that h was -1. And now I just need to find out what k is. So y equals -1/4 -1 squared minus 1/2 times -1 plus 6. Okay, -1 squared is just 1. So that's -1/4. -1/2 times -1 just makes that plus 1/2. And remember that 1/2 is just 2/4 plus 6, and 6 was 24/4. So 24/4 plus 2/4 minus 1/4. Well, 24 plus 2 is 26. Minus 1 makes that 25/4. So I have my h at -1. I have my k. Oh, I messed up. This is plus. I did that. So back over here, y equals a is -1/4 times x minus 1, but that would be x plus 1 squared plus 25/4. That's it. Okay, so lots of solving there, but we'll talk about how do you figure out the best one to use, okay, whenever you're given information. And then in the next one, we're going to talk about what's the fastest track there, okay? So I'll see you in part 2.